see what's gonna happen. Let's see. I'm sure I'm live, guys, but let me just quickly double check this. Oh yes, here we go. And I'm live. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. That's not the right order. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is another episode of the True Runners Talk Show. And actually, I am thrilled, excited to have as a guest today, Stefania Puleo. Thank you so much, Stefania, for joining me today. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Christina. I'm really excited to be here. I'm super grateful and really honored to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As you know, I would love to introduce first Stefania. So you guys, you know who she is. She's a brilliant coach, and not any kind of coach, but she is the CEO, founder of the Gentleman's Square. She aspires to provide a platform for men, which uses collective wisdom, knowledge, skills, and resources to help men navigate through the landscape of dating, or for men who suffer from stress, frustration, and overwhelm, particularly after abusive relationships. Her quote is, "A safe space where men can come together in brotherhood to actually heal and forge forward to attract their ideal woman, understand her psychology, and know how to handle female energy without going crazy." So guys, please be aware, watch today, open your eyes and ears and heart, because Stefania is going to share us some really good stuff here. She's a love relationship coach and a certified hypnotherapist. She's also a personal trainer, an author, and an unstoppable visionary dedicated to help men recognize their true potential. She was born and raised from the suburbs of Melbourne, Australia, with nothing more than a passion for people, relationship, and life. She has traveled and lived in 3 different continents around the world, learning and understanding cultural differences between man and woman in relationship. She's a dog lover, I'm a cat, and has a passion for cars and motorcycles. I love motorcycles too. I love them. So this is
Yes, that's my crazy
really...
side.
Oh, but that's good. That's really good. I love motorcycles. My father always said, "Oh my God, but that's so manlish." I was like, okay, so what? So Stefania, why do you coach men and not women? Because I've met a lot of coaches really. Personally, most of them are about women empowerment, inspiring women, you know, and all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to be very honest. I think you are the first who actually I know that coach.
Yes, I guess there's it's pretty rare, isn't it, having a woman coaching men. But I mean, I'm all for male to male therapy. I think it's absolutely great, and you know, there's a place for it. But when I decided to become a men's coach, a men's love and relationship coach, it was because I was coming from the perspective from a woman. So I really wanted to drive it home to bring men, knowing how to understand women, how to handle female energy. And really, what better person to ask than a woman, right? I mean, it's not about me coaching men about men and coaching them how to be men, or on a biological level. Like it's just, I don't know, but I can certainly help men to understand how women interpret things, how women see things, how women love to connect with men, you know, really getting in touch with that emotional side, really having that emotional connection, and also developing their emotional intelligence as well.
Oh wow, that sounds brilliant and hard at the same time, because I remember I've seen somewhere a picture, a photo which says understanding man, and it was one tiny little book, and understanding woman and a tiny little book up to the sky kind of thing. And I was like, Okay, that's kind of describe us.
Yes, exactly, exactly. We're a little complicated. I mean, I agree. I'm a woman, like who, if any woman out there that doesn't say that, I mean, you're lying, because we can be a little tricky to understand. And these poor, these poor men are left very puzzled at times, because, we can say one thing, but really mean another thing and expect our poor men to understand and read between the lines, right?
Yeah, it's fun like our maybe it's our no, it's a word.
Exactly.
What I think is that even in my environment, that some men or okay, women as well, but we are talking about men especially today, they are staying in relationships which we call toxic because of so many reasons, wrong reasons. Why is that? How come that? Okay, when a woman stay in a relationship, there are always some kind of excuses. I'm staying in this relationship because of this and that, especially the false sense of security, right? But why a man? Why a man? They are machos and strong and head of the family, and this is what you think of them. But why a man stays in a relationship which is really, really toxic and he doesn't make any move and he doesn't want to change? What's the psychology behind this?
Behind it. Okay. Well, there's a number of reasons. There's not one answer, I think, that's going to fit everybody here. Obviously, there's a number of reasons. But much like women, why do women stay in toxic relationships, right? And usually it hasn't got something to do particularly with the person that they're with, sort of, so to speak, inverted commas.
Mm-hmm.
It usually goes back, way back. It usually goes back to, even childhood. It depends on their upbringing. It depends on, their what kind of childhood they had, what kind of parents they had. Did they have parents that were in a loving relationship, or did they have parents that were also in an abusive relationship?
Mm,
This is where the subconscious mind, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I know, you're going to probably talk about my hypnotherapy and how I work with
absolutely.
clients, but just quickly letting people know that between 0 and 8 are the most crucial years of our life. And they are the years that we are storing so much information. We're picking up everything we see, we hear in our environment. So depending on who's caring for us at between those ages, that is definitely going to form and have a massive impact on us as adults.
Sure.
Right. So, I've worked with men that, after working with them and, peeling back the layers, we've found out that the issue hasn't just started. The issue's been there, this feeling of maybe people pleasing, not being able to set healthy boundaries, not being able to say no, not feeling worthy enough for a good relationship. Maybe his upbringing was where he was scolded all the time and made to feel, worthless and not good enough, and didn't receive the love that a child, a healthy child should receive, only because the parents were doing their best and with the tools they had and with the knowledge they had that they were able to give to their children. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is definitely going to mold and shape you as an adult. And, that comes into play. So what happens is that it's behavioral patterns that we fall into. And unless it's consciously done and then work through unconsciously, through the subconscious mind, you can't break those. It's really difficult. You may not even be aware of having them.
Yeah,
It's just normal
exactly.
to you to be treated unfairly by a woman, and yeah, I've worked with a lot of men like that, and it's really sad. It's really sad. But this is where I help them build confidence. I help them step into their own power, feel good in their own skin, and be able to set healthy boundaries. And, like anyone, not tolerate certain behaviors. very similar. It's very similar to women as well. We say it to women. Women are really, this is really drummed into women, but how much of this is really drummed into men? Because unfortunately, men as being males are looked at differently, and in ways they're not allowed to be vulnerable. They're not to show their emotion.
Yeah,
There's
like
a
men don't cry.
whole array of things that comes into play. Yeah, definitely.
I love
So,
it. I'm sorry
so
for
yeah,
cutting.
I don't know if that kind of makes sense. Yeah, why
Absolutely.
men stay in toxic relationships.
No, absolutely. It really, really makes sense because what I'm seeing is, there is the saying that women in their relationship, with their partner, they are looking for father figures, men, because maybe from the relationship with their mom in their childhood, in the relationship, in the woman, they think that it's the ideal partner. They are looking for a mother,
Mm.
a figure, mother figure, let's put it this way. How true is this statement?
Um, it's again generalizing,
Mhm.
but yes, that's what they're familiar. That's what they're familiar with. They're familiar with that personality type. They're familiar with that, um, you know, mm, a type of treatment
Mm,
where a mother is very nurturing, or a mother can be really harsh. You know what I mean? Like,
mm.
it's, not all mothers are nurturing, or express their love in a real soft, gentle, empathic way. They may, show their love by providing for that child, making sure they're fed, clothed, and they've got a roof over their head, but they don't give them the love language of touch and cuddles and
Of affection.
words of affirmation, that kind of affection. So that child is going to be growing up into a man to then be, only being able to relate to love. And that's what love is, when you're being served, or for example, rather than the other emotional connections that are involved and that women crave. As women, most, a large portion of women crave that connection, whether it be just through quality time, communicating, intimate communication, and even touch, holding hands, cuddling, things like, which isn't sex. Okay, let's get that clear. And I say that to men, your love language, because they may love sex, is what they think their love language is. It's not
Mm.
that at all. It's something entirely different.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that because, yes, when we speak about love and love language, on men's language is mostly 99.9% is about sex. But what truly a woman looks in a relationship, yes, sex has its part also, but as you said, it's more, the small little affection things like holding hand, the cuddles, the walking, the talks, and communication. Can we touch a little bit on communication? Because what I'm seeing is, correct me if I'm wrong, that the issues in a relationship first start with not knowing how to communicate properly with each other. Not talking about feelings, emotions, wants, boundaries. So there is a communication issue. Am I right? So this is the root problem in relationship, starts to go wrong because they do not really communicate.
Yes, absolutely. And again, this stems back from early childhood as to what
Mhm.
communication was for them, and what kind of communication did they receive also from, their parents or caregivers and caretakers. But, men, not all men, again, the ones that don't communicate a lot, aren't in touch with their own feelings. So they're too afraid to go there. They're too afraid to be vulnerable. So they're too afraid to actually share how they feel and communicate. So I get it, that can be really frustrating to a woman because, she's going to start thinking, he doesn't care for me, he doesn't love me, he doesn't, want to know about what I did and what I didn't do, to get into those intricate type, questions and conversations that women love. And really, that's not the case at all with a man. He just loves and adores her. but he's not expressing it or not communicating it in a way that she understands, in a way that, you know, he's got to learn to connect, to communicate. And of course, every individual woman has a different communicating style. You know, we talk about love languages, but it's not all about love languages. And she may not just have one primary, she may just use all of them, but have one predominant one, right? Obviously. So yeah, there's, you know, little things, knowing, you know, when a man says to you, oh, you know, what's your favorite color? Or what's your favorite dessert? You know, questions like that, that to a man is like, well, you know, that's just irrelevant. Like, you know, but when a man asks a woman, when we get asked that as women, what are we're feeling like, oh my God, it's just euphoric, because it's like what I say to men, you're tapping into her and only her. And when you're doing that to a woman, you're just taking it to another level. You know, you're communicating on that higher plane that a woman loves to feel, and feel totally it's all about her, and you're putting her in this bubble, which isn't love bombing, right? Because we've got to be careful that, you know, it can go overboard. But, you know, in those moments of intimacy and communicating, that's so important, you know. And if you don't have time to communicate, or you want to bring up a conversation, let her know that, you know, can we talk about this later? I know that this is not the right time, but you're letting her know, right? And one more thing that I really want to say about communication is, you know, I don't know about you, Christina, but you never promise a woman something and then just not do it.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, no, please don't.
That's just like really asking for big trouble. So I always say to men, you know, if you can't do something, either don't say it, don't promise that you're going to do it, or, you know, deliver something. If you can't, be honest and authentic and just say, look, I just couldn't do it, or something's come up, but I'll make it up for you. Don't just lay dormant, you know, just like go silent, pretend it's just gone away, put it under the carpet. Because let me tell you, gentlemen, women don't forget. They don't forget. We've got memories like elephants. I always say that. And, you know, this is, if you want to get on the good books, I mean, this is really, really important and fundamental.
Oh, thank you. Really, thank you for that. Really, we don't forget. Even we might say nothing, you know, but it's there in the corner of our mind. Okay, you said that. You didn't do it once, twice. Do you love me? What's your problem? So there we start to make what kind of stories in our mind. So yes,
right,
this is really, really important.
And
you've
just
been talking about you know,
sorry.
different.
Keep going. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, just on that note, I just wanted to say that there's this term, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, you know, it's a form of testing. Have you heard of the expression, she's shit testing me, a shit test? Have you heard of that? I know it sounds quite crude, but it's an expression that, you know, men feel that that's what they're being put through, is when a woman is testing you. A woman is testing her man. And, you know, anyone that's out there, any man that's experienced this will know what I'm talking about. And a woman, you know, whether she's doing it consciously or unconsciously, because that's just her brain pattern giving her reassurance that, hey, he still loves me, or hey, he's still into me, or hey, you know, he's still on par with me. But these are little tests that she will put out there, not because she's mean, but this is her own checking in on her own self and the security she feels with you as a man, basically. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, because, you know, women are very, very capable of that.
That's true. Thank you so much, Stefania, for sharing that. I would love to go a little bit on We were talking about toxic relationship, and why you don't change. And we said that it's mainly a problem, an issue with you, with yourself. It's like losing the connection with yourself, really. And I would love first to say thank you guys for all the hearts and likes you are giving us today. Thank you, Dr. Anita, for watching. It's really nice. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. Stefania will try to answer. If you are too shy and you are a man and too shy to put the comments here, just please, please, please reach out to her, because I'm absolutely sure that she will be able to answer your questions, your concerns, and might be able even to work with her to make your relationship work, to make a healthy and good relationship. What I would love to touch base a little bit, Stefania, is with women in many relationship and when they already have a child, right? I've heard this so many times from women and from men. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna leave him or her because of the child. Now, how healthy, how good is that? How we can change this? Because, oh no, I'm gonna stay in this, even if I'm feeling miserable, I'm feeling not worthy, I'm feeling awful. It's not my relationship. She's not my woman. She's not my man. But I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna suffer in this familiar bubble because we have a child and we don't want to affect the child. Now, how true is this statement?
Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of cases where men will stay in a relationship because, do or die, they have committed to being with that woman, whether it's through marriage or whether it's just through a plain commitment and having a child together. Because, particularly men, I think they're undervalued sometimes, where I think that they don't play a major role as a father, or as a parent in that relationship. And if anything, he really does go through a lot, particularly if there is conflict between the adults, and he's feeling, and if there may be a breakup or a divorce or just even plain conflict within the house, he's very conscious of not making that, I guess, prevalent to the child, because he's trying to protect the child as well. So a lot of times, yes, they do stay in a relationship because of that. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. Well, it depends. In some cases, if he's prepared to get help, if she's also prepared to get help, if are they going in as a couple or are they going in separately? Now, I have worked with couples, but I don't work with them together. I don't do couples therapy, okay? But I have worked with couples that are married or, together, and I work with them separately. What I do is I work on their own individual issues, not on the marriage or the relationship per se, but to strengthen them, and so when they come together, they're two wholes coming together. They're not broken. So we, of course, a lot of it again is going back and doing a lot of healing, because, again, a lot of the stuff that we're carrying, and if we've had several relationships, and, we've had a lot of events and stages in our lives from early age, where we really start in connecting with people as young as 5, at school, at primary school. And then you've got high school, and then you've got young adulthood, and you're going out in the workforce, your first girlfriend, maybe at 16, 17 or 20, then your real serious big love in your 20s. And there's been these series of events, experiences, they're all accumulated. It becomes like one big chain, and you're carrying all this. So then when you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're having this, meltdown or breakup or breakdown or conflicts in your relationship, all that's stirring up, all that's coming up, it's triggering you, and that anger is festering, and yes, you're focused on what's happening now, but there's a buildup of chain of events that bring you to that point. So yeah, there needs to be a lot of clearing and a lot of healing, and that way you become really whole and healed. Because a lot of the times, Christina, the thing is, people that are in toxic relationships, they really truly love each other. I
Yes.
know as sick as that may sound, right? They really do love each other. They want the best, but they just, for whatever reason, their love's grown apart. They, as you said, they want to stay together for the children, but something is still holding them, even if it's the love for their children. So rekindling that love of when, it can happen. It can happen. It can happen, but only if you want it. And of course, if your other partner wants it as well. I always say you need two hands to clap. You can't clap with one hand. You need two hands to clap. So it's a joint effort. You came together to join together. So working through your issues is joining together and working through them, or working separately to then come together and, work for the best for both of you and the children involved.
Oh wow, I really love what you're saying, because at the end of the day, really, if you want to make it work, then when you are ready and you know that yes, I want to make this relationship work, then you are looking for help, and you are trying to solve your own issues, not pointing on the other. No, it's your fault, it's your, I'm perfect, it's yours, and can be from
Yeah.
both sides. But when you recognize and you are willing, to change your own behavioral patterns, as you said, and Dr. Anita said, it's really important to do that together. I love what you were saying, together, working first on your own shit. I'm sorry for the expression, really.
No, it's
And then,
true.
I mean, working through your own stuff, putting down all those things. And then, in this case, after that, the relationship, will start to work a little bit more smoothly. And what I'm really, really intrigued and I want to find out about, you are doing a lot of hypnotherapy during your coachings, and you are using hypnotherapy. Can we just go a little bit on this? How does this help, and how it works actually?
Yes, absolutely. Well, hypnotherapy, for those people that have heard of it or don't know much about it, it's a real powerful tool that's used to, work through stress, anxiety, fear, and develop a level of clarity and confidence that is just really beyond what you've ever previously experienced, because your mind goes into a very light trance, or different trances of alpha, delta, theta. And what happens is you are in control. You are in a sleep awake state, I call it. Now, when I say in control, because you can hear what's going on, right? So in any time that you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't feel right, you can actually stop the session. Hypnosis that I do and work with my clients is more therapeutic, clinical type. It's not your stage hypnosis that you get in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear. Like, it's not entertaining. People say, "Oh, you're going to make me bark like a dog?" No, if you want me to, I'll try. But that's not what I'm about, because they think that they have no control over themselves. We, as humans, go in and out of hypnosis all the time on a daily basis. I'm not sure if you know that. Anyone out there in the audience that's not aware of that, let me give you an example. When you wake up in the mornings and you're in that asleep awake state, ever found yourself getting up and you're walking to the bathroom and you don't even remember getting to the bathroom? Yeah, that is hypnosis. Okay. You, before going to bed, and you start yawning and winding down and just like feeling a little bit like, oh, woozy, sleepy, wake, that is a form of hypnosis. You can be watching a movie and be totally in a trance and, someone may be talking to you or calling your name and you don't hear anything because you are in that trance, you're in that movie.
Yeah.
Or a very common one is driving your car.
Yes.
Missed the turn, you've missed the exit, you've missed where you've had to stop and you're way down the road. I do that all the time, you know. That is a form of hypnosis. So that is what it feels like. And it's very comfortable, it's very relaxing. You definitely, you know, come out of it feeling totally refreshed, rejuvenated, and definitely feel a difference. Do you feel something straight away? You may feel just totally relaxed. You may even, you know, release through yawning or tearing. It depends. It really depends. When I say tearing, it could be just, you know, because we release in different ways, right? But what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, but what can happen is the actual benefits of it can happen 2 to 3 days, a week later. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the brain doesn't like change, and therefore that's why with hypnosis, you know, you just, sometimes it can be a one-off hit where, you know, for example, quit smoking, you can stop in one hit. Sometimes you need more. It really depends. Everybody's different. So to say to someone, oh, you'll quit smoking with one session with me, well, for some hypnotherapists, they're just, I don't know, amazingly great. But there have been cases where it doesn't happen one off straight away. Yeah, in that case. But when you're working with self and relationships, and you definitely need a lot more, because it's those message units that are being, you know, put into the subconscious continuously, that it's going to create change. Because, you know, to make change, you need behavioral repetition, as you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I'm loving that. What I'm hearing you saying is that, okay, you are the hypnotherapist, but basically the hypnotherapy, the hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Like every hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And you are working with the subconscious mind, really. So when a person in hypnosis, you can help, you know, bringing up stuff from the subconscious mind and releasing, because let's face it, you know, lots of the traumas and events happen, especially in the early childhood. As you said a little bit earlier, you know, in the beginning of our conversation, you might not even remember or be conscious aware that that happened, yet it still affects your behavior and your emotional life, you know, and your relationship as an adult, right? And all these things, it can be released or released, is that the correct word? I think through hypnotherapy.
Yes. Released and replaced with a new message unit as well. Definitely. And that's where I do also emotional freedom technique, EFT, also MER, where you're releasing emotions as well, in a way that is through timeline therapy, and again going in a light trance as well. So a lot of that, because this is what's really important, and this is what I explain. You need to remove the emotions first. You need to get rid of what emotions am I talking about? Anger, guilt, shame, fear, all those limiting beliefs. Unless you remove those first, you can't get in and instill nice, you know, crisp message units. It's a bit like your fridge, right? You've got a fridge full of rotten food and it needs cleaning. It needs to be removed to then be able to have space for new veggies. The same thing with the mind. It needs to be removed, healed, cleansed, and then to be able to put some positive, and you'll be more receptive because you've gotten anger out of the way, because anger is the first forefront emotion that sits in front of every other emotion, in front of, you know, anxiety, in front of sadness, depression, all those. Anger's up there, right up the front.
Oh, I'm loving that you're saying that, because anger is a really, really powerful emotion. It carries a really, really high, not high, a lot of vibration. And if you can change, shift that anger, that vibration, that low, really low vibration to a really high one. Anger can be really powerful, because what I'm saying is that anger, I love anger.
Yes.
You know
Oh,
why?
it's not a
Because
bad
it,
thing. That's the
no,
thing. A lot of people think anger's bad. It's not.
it shows you where are your boundaries. Okay, this, I reach my boundaries. I'm angry, I reach my boundaries. Okay, that's it, and no more. And that's beautiful. Replace it and change it, shift it. That that can have a huge, huge, huge impact, really. I'm loving. And you mentioned about timeline therapy. Would you mind? Because, you know, many of people from the audience, you might have heard, guys, about timeline therapy here and there and all kind of stuff, hypnotherapy and this kind of therapy. Would you just share just a teeny bit what exactly timeline therapy is, and what you can do during when you have a timeline therapy? What will change?
Right. Okay. So timeline therapy is where, how can you explain it? Like, I guess you go into a light trance. You
Mhm.
definitely go, you get put into a light trance. And we actually go back to visit the event of usually the past, okay? Because we want to clear what's happened in the past and heal that part of your life. And why it's called timeline is because you're viewing it from a timeline way up here. So it's a little bit like an out of body experience, if I can explain it like that. So you're not in the event, you're looking at it through like adult eyes. And then, your therapist will help you view that, see that in a different light, shrink it down, let it float away, make it disintegrate. It depends what kind of imagery can be used. Now, I know that sounds a little bit woo-woo, but the whole idea, putting it very simplistically, is we are going on a timeline where you're traveling from past, coming to the now, and then putting something that you want to have or want to achieve in the future. And you see, again, you're in that light trance, you're putting that into the subconscious mind. It's sealed in there, close the door, and, it's working. It is
Wow.
working. That's why, it's so important what we surround ourselves with on a day-to-day basis. What are we listening to on the radio? What are we watching on TV that we're not really watching? Do you know what I mean? Like, so we could have the music on, have the radio on, but a whole lot of stuff's going on and being said that your subconscious is picking up on it, whether you're conscious of it or not, right? So that's why, people say, oh, don't watch the news, or don't change your TV station, have it where there's like fun, loving, or don't watch TV at all. Do you know what I mean? Be very conscious of what sounds and messages you put yourself in, and people, of course, because people are communicating and words are coming out of their mouths. So that, again, can have an effect on our subconscious as well.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's clear. You explained that really, really, really nicely. So, guys, if you would love to try out either hypnotherapy, either timeline therapy, again, reach out to Stefania. I mean, I know, I'm aware that you're not going to put the stuff out there in the comments, really. It's okay, but you can do that in private. And I know, Stefania, that you have a free ebook which is called 5 Ways to Make Juicier Connection to Women. And I love the title. Can you just share that a little bit more? I mean, oh my God.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
when
it's
you say that, the first thing is like, she's going to talk about sex, baby. I mean.
Yes, it's a free download, and you can go and get it on my website. So www.thegentleman'ssquare.com. It's a very interesting read. It won't take the men that long, even though I've had a lot of women download it as well, because they want to know what's in it as well. It's pretty straightforward, and it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's free. Get yourself a read. So that's pretty straightforward. But for those of you that want to know maybe a little bit more, or are intrigued or want to ask questions, I am offering an insight call, what I call a complimentary insight call. And you can book that online. It's completely free. There's no, you're not obligated to buy anything or do anything. It's for those people that want to reach out because, like you said, don't want to write on the feed, feel a little bit overwhelmed, haven't spoken to anyone about your issue and just need to speak to someone. I'm available for that. So I love serving, I love helping, I love seeing the transformation in people. And even if it's just a few tips and you walk away with feeling enlightened that way, that to me is just, wow, I've done my job. So
Wow.
again, you can hashtag truth runners too, when you make that booking, or let me know. So yeah, I know that you're coming through from this podcast, from this yeah,
Wow.
definitely. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I know that you are really, really an amazing coach. And I'm telling you, I admire you working, having the courage actually to work with a man as a woman. I know your group is all men, and I love that. I really, really love that.
Yes,
And
actually, yeah, they can join my group. I've got two groups, okay?
mhm.
One is Stop Attracting Toxic Women, which is growing rapidly, may I say.
Oh
And
wow.
I'll be doing some, offering some, I've done some work and challenges in the group there, but there's lots of free content. There's my YouTube channel as well for lots of free content. And also I have my other, it's called Rock Solid Relationships for Men. And this is for men that aren't in toxic relationships, but, still want to know a bit more about, how to connect with women, or how to reignite that relationship with your, woman, how to keep that spark alive. I always say, that relationships is a bit like a business.
Mhm.
Okay. And you can understand what I'm saying here, Christina, because of your business. A business, gentlemen, you've got to keep working it. You've got to keep investing in it. You've got to keep, you have to really look after your business for it to grow, for it to flourish, for it to give you a return,
Mhm.
right? The same with a relationship, working with, with your woman. You've got to invest, and obviously, so you get a return. Now, sometimes you may not get the return that you're after, you're looking for, or you may not get a return at all, but you've done your bit, and you'll know how to navigate through it. And again, setting healthy boundaries, all that comes into play. But the Rock Solid Relationship group is purely just for men that either are single, looking for love, or are in a relationship but want to, definitely spice it up a little, or add or know more things. And it is all men. I know
Thank you.
women. I have a lot of women that want to join. They think, what's it? A woman coaching all these men, and I want to get in there. And and it's no offense to my sisters, honestly, it's just because it's a safe space that I have for these men. They can come together and feel vulnerable and share, and a lot of sharing does happen, which is great.
I love you. I love that you are holding space for them, for holding space for men, because yes, we agreed today that they express themselves a little bit, I mean, they don't really express their feelings. They don't talk really. I mean, maybe they don't have even a friend or someone with whom they can share, all their emotions and feelings. And you holding that space for them, when they can feel safe and they can ask you their questions. I mean, that's amazing. So I really, really admire that. I'm aware of the time, and before we are closing this conversation today, I hope, guys, you had a lot of value. Really, you had a lot of value, actually. I don't really like to ask for advices, but is there any message, or is there anything what you would love to share before we
with
leave?
with with the
With
men,
them? Yes,
with
please.
for in
With
general.
my guys over there, out there. Yes, with the men.
Yeah. Well, just be true to yourself. Be authentic. If you are stuck in a relationship that you really don't want to be in or want to improve, or you've tried everything and you don't know how to, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Don't be afraid. There's always someone that can help you and steer you in the right direction. And you'll be surprised. I have had men come to me where they're at their last tither and their relationships have totally turned around because, they've taken responsibility for their own actions. Now, sometimes it may be worse than that. I don't know. But yeah, just really be honest with yourself. And for those that are in a relationship and, just prodding along, I say to these men, keep the humor up, make your woman laugh, do those special little things, tell her you love her, write little notes, uh, get my book. Actually, I do have a book on Amazon as well. It's called Master the Language of Attraction, which you can get that on Amazon. It's not very expensive. And it's a great read. Fill your mind up with information, get into groups where you can share with other men and, not have a bitch session. That's what I say, where you come together and support each other. Because that's what I do. My goal, my purpose for working with men is to empower them, to help them, feel good in their own skin, and to have that unshakable core confidence that no matter what they go through, the rejection, the trauma in whatever situation, relationships, they have the confidence to move forward and navigate and make right decisions for them, for their other half, and for their children if there's children involved as well.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love what you said about being honest with yourself. And I think that's the really first step. So guys out there, I love you. I see you. I feel you. If anything resonated, and I'm sure it did today with you from our conversation with Stefania, please reach out, download the ebook. It's really, really valuable. I'm telling you. And first of all, be honest with yourself, really. There is nothing what you cannot fix. I don't know if this is the correct word, but everything is going to work out well if you are willing to change, if you recognize that there is something what you need to change within you first, and then this automatically, it's like a ripple effect goes to your relationship. So if you reconnect with yourself, you know yourself, and you um heal yourself, I think that's the right word, then you can correct and heal your relationship as well. So first yourself and then others. So I'm loving that, Stefania. Really.
Absolutely wonderfully said.
Thank you so much for being with
Thank
me today.
you.
It was
Thank
a great
you.
honor. I'm so happy. Thank you guys for watching. I know you did. I know
Yes,
you
thank
learned a lot today. Until next time, I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I
you.
see
Yes.
you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Bye.